Hello, my dear Mystic Souls. This is Vitsi Vich, and welcome back once again to the Tarot course. Continuing with our discussion about the Major Arcana, today we are going to talk about the fourth Major Arcana, another female archetype, that is the Empress card. The number of the card of Empress is number 3 because if you remember, I told you that the counting of Major Arcana cards begins from 0. So the Fool card was 0, and the Empress being the fourth card, the number is 3. 3 is a number of creativity. So, for instance, if a question has to do like, what is the advice for me now? Or what course of action should I take now? Advice regarding that, it can be that the card is telling you to connect with your creative side. You may need to ask yourself, what can I do to boost my creative element? Maybe it's time for you to connect with one of your hobbies or reconnect with one of your hobbies back again in your life. Perhaps there was something that you would enjoy doing as a kid, but it's been a long while you do not do that hobby anymore, so it's time for you to start that hobby once again. In the last video, we spoke about the High Priestess. So, the card of High Priestess, as you may have watched that video, and if you have not, do not worry, I will put the link in the description box. So, the card of High Priestess mainly stands for intuitive abilities, the subconscious realm, your mental side. The card of Empress is all about emotions and emotional understanding. So perhaps you may be asking question about an advice. So perhaps the Empress can also give you an advice like, this is the time when you need to connect with your emotional nature. Have you been taking care of your emotions lately? Or perhaps you also need to pay attention to the emotions of others around you. Are you conscious of the emotions of others around you? If not, then perhaps it is time to do so. Just like the card of the High Priestess, even the card of Empress has water element in it. But while the card of High Priestess was about being receptive with this water element, the card of Empress is about flowing water. That is, you both give and receive. It is no longer a one-way bridge, rather, it is a two-way bridge. You both give and you take. And here, mainly when the card of Empress comes up, it is about giving, nurturing to both yourself or to others, depending upon the question that you have asked. Say, for example, you are asking a question about what should be the next action that you should be taking in a particular situation. Then the advice for you now is to just go with the flow. Just see how things turn out to be and act accordingly. Okay? Do not worry too much about what would be the future like. Do not go into super nitty gritty plannings. It can be like you meet your significant person every other day around the evening, but with no plans to do as such. You like the butterfly feelings in your stomach, but don't start to weave a nest of like, well, with this person I'm gonna get married and gonna have kids and stuff like that. Just go with the flow and see where things take you to be. If the person is your soulmate or your twin flame, definitely something may turn around for you if the universe wants it to happen. Just see where it goes, okay? The energy of this card of the Empress represents life and the continuation of life. It's more like a river. It is both still, but then at the same time, it is also ever changing. It is a place where, change and stability kind of unites with one another. You can say it is both time and timelessness. Okay, it is the same element, the river, which can have at times very heavy flow and at times it can be just still. So, this is just your state of life. Like sometimes we have our ups, sometimes we have our downs, sometimes we are low, sometimes we are just still. So it can be in a way that this card is trying to tell you to embrace yourself just the way you are, pay attention to what you are, how you are, and where you want to go. But before everything, take the time out to nurture yourself exactly the way you are and exactly for what you need. Now, if you know that I use cards from the Art of Tarot deck, and the reason why I keep using these cards is because this was my first tarot deck and it was a gift to me from my mom. So, in that regard, it was very special to me. It is very special to me. So, I keep using these cards from the Art of Tarot deck. Now, if you see that in this card, in this deck, the Empress, instead of having a spectre like that in the traditional Rider Waite, it rather has a spherical shaped thing which represents the spectre. And while in the traditional Rider Waite deck, there should be wheat at the feet of the Empress, here, in some cultures, they consider that the spherical spectre in itself contains the wheat inside it. And the other difference is that while in traditional Rider Waite deck, you'd find a heart shaped symbol over here, which in this deck it is that of an eagle shaped shield, rather. Okay, so these elements of this card represent certain things. First of all, the significance of the wheat is that it represents harvest, it represents abundance in your life. So if you're having a question like what is coming in future, then you can actually expect harvest season to happen in your life in future. You can expect some sort of abundance entering into your life. It can be in any area, obviously, depending upon the question that you may have asked. It also, in a way, represents feminine power because you can see that the spectre is in her hand and she is seated on a throne. So, all of these symbolizes feminine power. It can be that in your life you're dealing with somebody, some female figure who is having a lot of power and she is like in charge of a large team. Maybe your boss or your supervisor, and if, say, for example, you're asking help over a situation, then it can be that the universe is guiding you to seek help from this particular lady. It can be your mom, it can also be your boss in your organization. It can be your friend who happens to be a CEO at her work. It can be literally anybody, or maybe if you're in the academic field, it can be some leading female professors in your field. It can be literally anyone that you may reach out to. It also represents protection and love. It represents that either you are turning into somebody whom people will trust, whom people will find to be very honest, or maybe somebody like this, maybe a female figure because chances are quite high, but it can also be a male who is having strong feminine energies in his chart, or it can literally be a guy who embraces these female qualities in himself. Okay, so do not look out for just women. It can also be a men too, depending upon, of course, the other cards in your reading. But it may, there is a high possibility that it can be a woman who is quite trustworthy, who is very honest, who is very upright, very nurturing and caring. And maybe that the advice is that you should try to be within her tribe, try to be within her protection. Now, when I say within her protection, for some reason I also get this message that please do not try to be somebody's pet. What I mean by saying that do not try to be somebody's pet, it is observed that in universities or maybe even in workplaces, there are some employees who try their best to be in the good books of their boss or their professors in order to gain certain favors. This is a very negative way of trying to succeed in life. When I say that try to be in their tribe, it means like if, say, for example, it's a professor and she runs a research lab and she's very caring towards her students, very nurturing in terms of the value she provides to them in the form of knowledge, of course, and also in the form of research networks and ties. And she will really help you grow ahead, and you genuinely want to grow ahead. Then try to get into her research lab, and do not try to be in her good books by just vague statements like, oh, professor, you're looking very beautiful today. Okay. Or maybe if you are in a corporate sector, then do not try to join that organization just because you know that the boss, the CEO, is going to be very caring towards the employees. Try to be in that group if you genuinely want to add to that group, because when you try to gain something from unfair means, it does not really represent your worth. And when you pick the card of the Empress, it literally represents that it is time for you to step up and take charge of your own self worth. Okay, it means that you need to pay attention to who you truly are and nurture your own self. You can never be able to nurture your own self if all you care about is just to be in somebody's good books and get ahead through hooks and crooks. Okay, so bear that in mind. Now, when you draw the card of the Empress, and for example, you had a question that I have this idea and I'm not sure if I should implement it, then drawing this card of Empress is a great omen for you. It says, go ahead, and it's a big yes from the universe, and it is saying, of course, you should implement your idea. Or it is also possible that you are currently lost in your life and you do not know where to go next. So, even in that case, if you pick the card of the Empress, it means that very soon you will have new ideas which will guide you about how to get ahead in your life. Now, in case of relationships, if you are married or even if you are not married, but you and your partner are planning to start a family together, and you want to know if it is the right time to start planning for a baby, then picking up the Empress is like, oh, yes, lovely. It's an excellent time to plan your family together, an excellent time to start, excellent time to try to conceive a baby. Okay. Or, for example, it can also indicate that maybe very soon there is going to be a birth of a child in your family. It can be through you or through someone else. Now, it can also mean that, say, for example, you have already started your business and you're worried that if you'd receive investments for your startup or not. Picking up this card means, oh yes, there'd soon be some venture capitalists, some investors interested in your venture, and there's going to be a windfall of money. It can also mean, depending upon certain cards, like for example, if you draw the Empress in combination with the Ten of Pentacles, then it means that for sure you will receive a lot of family money. That is, lot of inheritance money. So there would be something passed down to you. You must also understand one thing, that at times we do not receive inheritance just in the form of money. It can also be your family knowledge, because knowledge can create wealth. It has the potential of generating a lot of wealth, okay? So it can be that you receive a lot of old books of your forefathers which contain such knowledge that you can share out to the world or put into use in a new way, and they just generate you a lot of wealth. Okay, so these are all possible when you draw the card of the Empress. The card of Empress is associated with Venus, so it can indicate everything related to pleasure, passion, sensuality, and stuff like that. But the important thing here is that here, when you draw the card Empress, Venus says that, you know what, I want all of these things and I know how to get my things, but most of the things that I try to get, I just simply lay back and let the things come into my life. Okay, I just take care of myself, and everything that I feel for myself is also manifested towards me in a way. So normally when I pick up this card of the Empress and I'm doing a reading either for myself or for somebody else, and there are questions like, will I receive joy in my life or will I be rich in my life? It is about, do I feel that I am rich or do I feel joyful? And if not, then what are the things that I can do in order to feel rich or feel joyful? And taking one or two steps every single day over the course of time eventually brings a lot of joy, or It also draws in a lot of money. Okay, so when you draw this card of the Empress, it tells you that in life it can be that during certain times, instead of simply trying to get to a certain thing, or like receive certain thing, make certain things happen in your life, you should first feel how getting that thing in your life would be like. Like, say, for example, if you are attracting love, instead of being desperate trying to attract love, what you can rather do is engage in self love. Take care of yourself, treat yourself to a good spa, or eat such kind of meal which will make you happy, or go get yourself a workout session or something like engaging in your hobby, anything that makes you happy and anything that makes you feel loved. Okay, like I loved doing that. Oh, I loved my day. It was an incredible day. Oh, I pampered myself. I felt so special. Because the moment you start doing all of these things, you will find that you gradually attract someone like that into your life who would actually treat you like a queen. Because when you draw this card of the Empress, there is high possibility that you are manifesting in your life a very passionate relationship. And this kind of relationship, although, yes, of course, this card says that go with the flow, it also says that I have the potential to bring in a marriage or a strong, long term committed relationship into your life. The partner that you may be manifesting would be somebody who would treat you like royally, who would lay all the pleasures at your feet, for whom you would be like, oh, the absolute queen, the most beautiful woman in the entire world, and things like that. And in order to have such a partner in your life, you should first learn to treat yourself like that. You should first learn to love yourself in order to attract love into your life. So, all of these messages are conveyed by the Empress card. Okay, so there were some issues with my lighting, but looks like it has been taken care of. So now I have good lighting and I like it. Okay. So when you're talking about Venus, it's impossible to not talk about money. So when you draw the card of Empress and if you are worried about your financial situation, then it is saying to you, do not worry now. Things are going to be resolved for you and very soon you will have lot of abundance, lot of financial supplies for you. Alongside, say for example, it is a career question for you, and you draw this card of the Empress with cards like the Eight of Pentacles, or even the Three of Pentacles, or maybe a card like, say, the Eight of Wands, then it can mean that it is asking you to build upon your skills. It is saying that you need to take some fast moving actions in order to not just build up your skill, but also at the same time simultaneously showcase your skill to the world. Okay, like say for example, you are a tech professional and you are learning something, so it can mean that start building up your portfolio and also start applying for jobs because you need to showcase your skill and your talents to the world. Okay, while you nurture your skill, you learn bit by bit. You also start now to learn how to market your skills to the world. Okay, because very soon you might manifest in your life a very prosperous job offer, a job offer that gives you a lot of abundance in your life, not just in terms of money, but also in terms of the exposure that you would receive in your life. Okay, now, say you draw this card of the Empress along with the Emperor, and it is a career question, and you're currently in a job. So that means that it is a high chance that you would be promoted to a leadership position, a senior position from what you currently are. It also indicates that when you grow big, grow to a senior position, make sure that you do not lose your judging abilities. Make sure to use both the left and right side of your brains equally. Okay. Also, when you draw the card of the Empress along with the Emperor, it also means, it can mean that your boss or somebody who is in a strong authoritative position, but at the same time very nurturing, caring, will be someone who would guide and help you. Now, say you're looking for a job and you're asking a career question, then it would mean that very soon you'd not only get a job, you'd get a position you would be asked to take charge. You would be the leader. Maybe that you're gonna get a job in a startup company. So you would be asked to take charge of a lot of things. A lot of decision making has to be done by you, and make sure to connect with both the sides of your brain. Use both your heart and mind to think through, and everything will be fine. And there's another thing about this combination. If it is a love question and you draw this card, then chances are highly likely you're going to meet your soulmate very soon. And usually, in these cases, the meetings with their significant other or the soulmate happens just over a couple of weeks. It's like just within, say, they did the reading this week, then over the next 2 or 3 weeks, they come across somebody with whom they are in a long term committed relationship. Now, what if you draw this card of the Empress in reverse? While some tarot readers do not like to consider the reversals of the card because they feel that since tarot has got 78 cards, so if tarot has to tell you something, then it can tell you that through other cards. But let's say you're just drawing one single card and the Empress came in reversed. Or you are somebody who is of the philosophy that I'm going to consider both the upright meanings and the reversals of the card, then this section is for you. If this card of the Empress comes in reverse, then it means that there is going to be, or there is currently, a blockage in growth, abundance, and feminine energy in your life. At times, in certain readings that I have been doing over like the past few months, like very recently, I have stopped doing these kind of readings because the energies usually are very heavy. But in the past, I have done such readings where people wanted to know, like, who are their enemies and who is trying to cause harm to them. So, when you draw this card of the Empress, there is a strong chance that there is somebody with a very strong feminine energy, or possibly somebody who is like your mother figure, or who is in the position of like a female leader, like your female boss or your female friend or someone like that, who doesn't want to see you succeed in your life, who doesn't want abundance in your life, who doesn't want to see you grow in your life, is somebody who is casting some uh, blockages on your way. And all of that can be indicated by the card of the Empress. So it may be that you were very creative, but suddenly you start to feel a lack of creativity. You do not, even if you're creative, you do not just happen to understand how to express that. Or perhaps it can be like you wanted to say something, but you completely choose a different set of words to express yourself, and that further complicates the situation. While you were trying to close a deal, instead you say say such things that the clients get so angry that they vow never to do business with you again, and because of that your reputation at your workplace gets tarnished completely. Okay. Also, if you draw the card of Empress in reverse, then it can mean that either you have it or the person that you are asking the question about has a lot of parenting issues. And because of these parenting issues, there is a lot of childhood trauma in you which needs to be healed. So, if your question is anything regarding to that, and you may be asking what can be a potential advice for you in this case, then the advice is like you need to work upon your shadow self, or you need to heal your inner child. And if you find somebody, some healer in your place nearby who can assist you in doing so, it's a good idea to do that. However, I will warn you in this case, though, that there are many scammers and fake profiles out there. Please do not reach out to them. If even if you think that you would want to connect with somebody over YouTube, then it's a very good idea to choose those readers whose readings make you feel comfortable. With whom, like, say, for example, you are listening to their readings, decide for yourself, will you be comfortable in sharing your life, your concerns with this person? If yes, then do reach out to them. And make sure that usually what happens is the tarot readers who provide such healing services they put their all of these information about how to reach out to them in the description box. So check it out from there instead of responding to random links in the comment section, because it may be that you pay a sum of money and you're just scammed because you never received the service, okay? And it may also be that you share out vital information which puts you in danger, okay? So when I'm saying that reach out to a healer, as a responsible YouTuber, I must also make you aware of all of these things. So that was it about it. Also, now moving forward, it can also be that of late you have been so self centered at understanding your own needs, or you have been prioritizing yourself so much to the extent that you have been completely ignoring the needs of others around you. So, if you're not in a position where you find that you have understood the needs of others, or say, for instance, in your family, you haven't asked your family members how they feel, and of late it has been about you, and what you want, what you do not want, etc. Make sure that it is saying that it is a high red alert, because maybe your family members are like too displeased over this issue, and before your family breaks up completely apart, this is a time for you to stand up and take action. Make sure that you are there for everyone, you understand your family members, and you are able to provide a nurturing place for everyone. While it is definitely not wrong to take care of yourself, everybody should put themselves as a priority, because if you are not happy, if you do not know how to take care of yourself, you will never be able to make anyone else happy. But when you are together as a family, if all you care about is your happiness, to the extent of completely ignoring the happiness and needs of those around you, of your loved ones, then it means that you're extremely self centric and you are completely ignoring a lovely relationship. You're making it very unhealthy, because that would rather be a toxicity, and nobody wants toxicity in their lives, right? Even if someone does that to you, even you will not like it. So while there is still time, pay attention to the needs of others. Now it can also mean, if it is in reverse, that there are some chakra imbalances with you and that needs to be healed. So that can be healed through different meditative practices and yoga. So it is recommended that you may consider joining a yoga therapy center near you, or maybe if there are some guided meditations available online on YouTube or in any other media, or maybe there is like a meditation center where there are trained professionals who can guide you through the practice. Do consider joining that. Now, if it is about relationships and the card of Empress is drawn reverse, then it can mean some serious marriage problems between you and your partner. What it is observed that at times it indicates that there are some female figures in your family who is causing a lot of trouble, or maybe that your mother-in-law here, unfortunately I'll have to deliver this, so I'm really sorry all of those who are mama's girl or mama's boys, but it is true. Maybe your mommy is having some issues in accepting your relationship, and maybe she is stirring up the commotion in your relationship. So just be aware of it, because you see, sometimes some moms really have trouble in saying that their son or their daughter now has someone in their life and they would be taking care of them, and then they see it like they have stolen away my son or my daughter. And I don't know why, but well, it is the reality that we live in. Some mothers or mothers in laws start to feel that. Well, now I will never be a priority in their life, so I'll be like left over, just like trash and stuff. And so they start to create some sort of problems just to break the relationship so that their child can be back with them and they would be happy. But what they do not realize is that in this pursuit, they are hurting their child the most, sometimes even impairing their ability to love anybody back again in their lives. But well, people are people, human are human, we can't do anything about it. So, in this case, if you draw the Empress in reverse and you're asking about your marriage and you're particularly having some problems in your marriage, then it can be either because you have been ignoring yourself or your partner too much lately, or it may be because of your mother in law, or it can also be because you have been overindulgent in certain aspects of your life which has to deal with pleasure, sensuality, and passion. Maybe that you are a shopaholic, or very recently you have picked up this habit of shopping too much. And because of your spendthrift problems, it's like you have a lot of debts to yourself, like a lot of credit card dues and stuff. And while you are going out on a shopping spree, you do not even have enough to pay the rent. Then that indeed is a serious trouble, okay? And that must be taken care of. So a reverse empress can denote all of these things. That's a lot of information about the Empress card, but there's still a lot more to know about tarot. So stay tuned as new content will be out there quite soon. In the meanwhile, if you would want to know about any specific topic about witchcraft, spell work, or the divination tools, then do consider leaving them in the comment section below. I will try to bring content about those for you to the best of my knowledge, and I will love to inform my dear mystic souls about the world of witchcraft. If you are appreciative of my work and you have found all these videos interesting, do consider hitting the thumbs up button and give this video a like. And also subscribe to this channel. Plus, hit the notifications bell icon so that whenever I put up a new video, there is a ting tong in your notification bar. That's all for now, and I will see you in my next. Till then, take care.